Today is Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. This is the 47 Daily Podcast. My name is Mark Kaye. The Easter Bunny is not taking Trump out. The Easter Bunny's not taking Trump out. Not like that Joe Biden bunny. Remember last year when Joe Biden was taken out by the Easter Bunny? That was Donald Trump's, I guess, stern warning to not just the media, but to the Easter Bunny at the Easter egg roll yesterday. He said, it's not like when Joe Biden was president at all. Do you remember that? That was a beautiful moment.
Do you remember the bunny with Joe Biden? Remember? Do you remember when the bunny took Joe Biden out? He's not taking Trump out. Anyway, that was a beautiful moment when the bunny saved Joe Biden.
That was a beautiful moment indeed. One of the most beautiful moments in recent history, the Easter Bunny showing up just in time to keep Joe Biden from telling parents and kids at the Easter egg roll some kind of deep, dark state secret, some kind of classified information. The Easter Bunny, who I'm still convinced was a Secret Service agent in disguise, protecting Joe Biden and our country from Joe Biden at the Easter egg roll, because there's no telling what that guy would have said. Donald Trump, though, he doesn't need any protecting. He doesn't need the Easter Bunny to tell him what to do. Donald Trump tells the Easter Bunny what to do. And yesterday at the Easter egg roll, he made that point very, very clear. It was a beautiful day. Melania Trump, who was in charge, the first lady, decorated the White House beautifully. The Easter eggs were fantastic. The flowers, the decorations, the crowds were amazing. And President Donald Trump kicked off the entire event by honoring Jesus Christ and also the Pope, who passed away just hours before the event. And President Donald Trump said, look, I just signed an executive order honoring the memory of Pope Francis here in the United States of America.
Well, thank you very much, everybody, and a very happy Easter to everyone. It was a beautiful day yesterday, and it's a beautiful day today. We don't have to worry about sunburn, but looks like it's not going to be raining. It's going to be really something special. 42,000 people are expected all throughout the day, and it's an honor to have you. I just signed an executive order putting the flags of our country, all of them, all federal flags and state flags, at half-mast in honor of Pope Francis. So he was a good man, worked hard, he loved the world, and it's an honor to do that.
Donald Trump also mentioned on his X post, or his Truth Social, that he and the First Lady would indeed be attending the funeral of Pope Francis. He wrote, Melania and I will be going to the funeral of Pope Francis in Rome. We look forward to being there. And that is, of course, something that is very, very important. A bunch of world leaders, I imagine, are going to be on site in Rome for the memorial service with Pope Francis. And Donald Trump can honor his memory and represent the billions of Catholics across the globe, but the hundreds of millions of Catholics here in the United States of America. And he mentioned that as well, too, not Catholics specifically, but the celebration of Easter and how we are honoring Jesus and religion here in the United States of America, and how we're bringing religion back to the country that was founded as a safe haven for people that were being persecuted for their religious beliefs and practices.
Speaking of special, Easter is special, and it's one of our favorite days. It's one of our favorite periods of time. We're honoring Jesus Christ, and we're going to honor Jesus Christ very powerfully throughout our lives, all throughout our lives, not just now, all throughout our lives. We're bringing religion back in America. We're bringing a lot of things back, but religion is coming back to America. That's why you see the kind of numbers that you're seeing, the spirit and the kind of numbers that you're seeing. So
big numbers, just like the economy, big numbers. Religion, we're seeing big numbers in religion, and Donald Trump is a big part of that. We're bringing religion, we're bringing Jesus Christ, we're bringing sanctity and solidarity with all religious sects and beliefs back home to the United States of America so we can make America great again. A reporter asked President Donald Trump, by the way, how important was religion to him? And here's what he said.
You talked about Jesus in your opening statement.
Yeah.
How important is this country right now?
very important. It brings the country together. I mean, it's so important that we can do that. Religion, I said, bring religion back. Religion keeps you together. Such a great thing.
Yeah, it is a great thing, and it does bring the country together, and that's one of the reasons why President Donald Trump is trying to protect it as much as he can, so that we are not divided, we are united, not just in the United States of America, but united in Christ or whomever you believe in. And that is, it was interesting to see Donald Trump interact with with the news yesterday at the Easter egg roll because there was a lot of fake news there. In fact, he pointed it out to some of the folks. He's like, look, folks, there's the fake news is here today. Sometimes they have good days. Sometimes they have bad days. We're not really sure what yesterday was. Well, I know what yesterday was, but Donald Trump wanted to. I guess he was feeling festive, so he gave them the benefit of the doubt.
Look at that. Look behind. What nice, the best people. They have good days and they have bad days, but we all do, right?
They have good days and they have bad days, but we all do, right? Yeah, that's the fake news. I think yesterday was actually a pretty bad day for the fake news because they've been perpetrating or pushing a story about Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, and how, for whatever reason, Pete Hegseth is on his way out. In fact, NPR, National Public Radio, which I guess just can't get defunded fast enough for their own taste. This is a company or an organization, but it's part of the federal government that's on the chopping block. NPR and the CEO of NPR were on Capitol Hill just a couple of weeks ago getting grilled by Brandon Gill and a whole bunch of other representatives, and now they're pushing fake news stories about Pete Hegseth being on the chopping block and the White House searching for a brand new Secretary of Defense. Listen to this story that they reported yesterday.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. NPR has learned that the White House has begun the process of looking for a new Secretary of Defense. That's according to an official who was not authorized to speak publicly. This comes as Secretary Pete Hegseth continues to find himself surrounded in controversy. Hegseth apparently shared details with his wife and brother just minutes after being updated on the Yemen strikes by a senior U.S. military official. That was in a second signal chat on his personal phone ahead of strikes in Yemen last month.
That was NPR, which I don't know why they all talk like that. I'm in Washington, and Pete Hegseth reportedly, blah, blah, blah. They're talking about a second signal chat that they apparently found out where he wrote details of the strike to his wife and his brother, all allegedly. But NPR now reporting that some White House official, some administration official who's not cleared to talk about this publicly was talking about it publicly. Now, you always have to, first of all, you never trust NPR. You never trust the fake news. And you never trust anybody who says we have some anonymous official. What you want to do is you want to trust President Donald Trump and you want to go right to the source. And that's exactly what they did at the Easter egg roll yesterday. Somebody asked him, are you still content with Pete Hegseth? Are you still satisfied with the job that the Secretary of Defense is doing? Here was President Donald Trump's response.
I mean, I hear they're doing that whole thing again. Here we go again. Just a waste of time. He is doing a great job.
Why do you still have confidence?
Because he's doing a great job. Thanks, ask the Houthis how he's doing. Ask the Houthis how much dysfunction there's none. Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him. We have the highest recruitment numbers I think they've had in 28 years. No, he's doing a great job. It's just fake news. They just bring up stories. I guess it sounds like disgruntled employees. You know, he was put there to get rid of a lot of bad people, and that's what he's doing. So you don't always have friends when you do that.
Should he stop?
Ask the Houthis. You know what? You want to ask somebody, ask the Houthis how Pete Hegseth is doing. The Houthis in Yemen, which we took out in mass numbers, and that is true. Well, look, when you're in a department, when you're rooting out the evildoers, when you're getting rid of the people who are leakers, when you're getting rid of the folks who are not on board with the mission, then you're gonna make some enemies. You can't fire people and have them be thrilled with you for the rest of your life. They're gonna seek some kind of retribution. President Donald Trump understands that. Pete Hegseth understands that. The fake news media does not understand that. Well, the White House reportedly. Just pouring cold water all over this story. Rapid Response 47 wrote on X, lies from NPR, which, as we all know, is a fake news propaganda machine. They retweeted the story about NPR, the one that we just played for you, and said this is all just bogus. Pete Hegseth is perfectly fine. Even Pete Hegseth wrote, the White House Easter egg roll was fire. What a big surprise that a bunch of leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out. That's what Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told reporters yesterday at the Easter egg roll. Who knew that the White House Easter egg roll would become a a media circus where President Donald Trump and one of his most high profile and important cabinet appointments would be coming under fire by the media. But I guess, that's what happens anytime, anywhere, any place. When you're President Donald Trump and or his administration officials, you have to be ready to fight back against the fake news propaganda. Speaking of fake news propaganda, Peter Miller was on Newsmax, and he was talking to our good friend Carl Higbee, and they were talking about the Supreme Court and their interference in President Donald Trump's deportation plans, and how President Donald Trump was working to keep America safe, working to get rid of the illegal criminal alien element that is here in the United States of America. And Stephen Miller, I'm getting all my names mixed up. Stephen Miller was like, look, this is just insanity. It's actually crazy what the Supreme Court and the district courts are doing and how they're getting in the way of President Donald Trump's plans to deport these dangerous criminals from our country.
It's insane to all thinking people. You have, in this case, illegal aliens from Venezuela sent here by Maduro, who are members of a foreign terrorist organization, Tren de Aragua, an organization that the intelligence community has found is operating at the direction of a hostile, adversarial foreign regime carrying out criminal enterprises to destabilize the political system in the United States. Those are the facts when it comes to TDA. So they're all illegal. They're all gang members. They're all foreign terrorists. And now we are being told that they cannot be expelled from our country without an extraordinary amount of individualized adjudication at the district court, circuit court, Supreme Court, up and down, up and down, up and down. No American citizen receives this level of so-called due process. Because it isn't due process. This is called infinity process to keep you here forever. Yeah. That's what this is.
Oh no, it's crazy.
No American citizen charged with a crime, with a serious crime inside the United States, a U.S.-born American citizen receives this kind of process. Millions of dollars in free legal services, representation at every single level. Do you think that there is any, for example, any American citizen who was persecuted, who was innocent related to January 6th? Do you think they could just get this kind of relief, this kind of process? No. It was never available to them. Yeah. The whole system was rigged against them, just like it's rigged in favor of illegal alien invaders.
This is a guy, by the way, who clearly has had enough of all of this nonsense. He wasn't even done, but his point is accurate. If you're an American citizen, you don't get this kind of adjudication for whatever crime you may or may not have been committed or accused of having committed. But these illegal criminal gang members, apparently, thanks to the Democrats and the court system, they're getting all kinds of relief.
How many pressing constitutional issues have been swept aside that American citizens need resolved,
right,
who are being persecuted by left-wing mayors, left-wing governors, left-wing bureaucrats who actually need relief? How many of their concerns have been swept aside so our entire judicial system can spend hour after hour, week after week, month after month scrutinizing every single last detail of a deportation of an invader sent here by a foreign government?
Yeah, it's definitely getting to a point. It's getting to a breaking point at the White House, and it is going to be a battle between the Supreme Court, Donald Trump, and all the other court systems when it comes to President Donald Trump doing what he promised to do, which is deporting the illegal criminal element. President Trump actually mentioned this on his Truth Social yesterday. He wrote, "I'm doing what I was elected to do, remove criminals from our country, but the courts don't seem to want me to do that. My team is fantastic, doing an incredible job. However, they are being stymied." I love the use of the word stymied at every turn by even the U.S. Supreme Court, which I have such great respect for, but which seemingly doesn't want me to send violent criminals and terrorists back to Venezuela or any other country for that matter. People came here illegally. The courts are intimidated by the radical left who are playing the ref. Great Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito correctly wants to dissolve the pause on deportations. He is right on this. If we don't get these criminals out of our country, we are not going to have a country any longer. We cannot give everyone a trial because to do so would take, without exaggeration, 200 years. we would need hundreds of thousands of trials for the hundreds of thousands of illegals we are sending out of the country. Such a thing is not possible to do. What a ridiculous situation we are in. Make America great again. So President Donald Trump name checking the Supreme Court and throwing his weight and support against along with Samuel Alito, who along with Clarence Thomas were the only two Supreme Court justices who wrote in the dissent of this opinion, blocking President Donald Trump from using the Alien Enemies Act to continue to deport illegal immigrant aliens. But Donald Trump's team is working diligently. He's working as hard as possible, and he's doing everything that he can to keep America safe again. He is, of course, getting stopped at every single corner he tries to turn by the Democrats in the media, in the government, and in the court system. One last piece of good news, though, regarding egg prices. Brooke Rollins, the Secretary of Agriculture, on Easter mentioned how diligently they've been working toward correcting egg prices and how much success they've had in bringing the prices back down to some kind of normal rate.
Well, as you know, because I think we talked about it on your show, about a month and a half ago, the president asked me to put a bold plan together to address what under the Biden administration was an increase of the cost of eggs to the consumer of 237%. And there were a lot of reasons for that. Avian flu is a big driver and still continues to be. But we released that plan, 5 big parts of it. And the very next day, in fact, I have a new egg chart that tracks with the festivities of today, but you can see the price of eggs went all the way down, as you mentioned, 58% since we rolled that plan out. That's the wholesale cost, and you'll begin to see that in parts of the country. We've already seen eggs drop 50, 60, 80%, and other parts, more of the blue states, they've stayed a little higher for regulation reasons, but we've gotten our arms around it, and hopefully, as you mentioned, today was the Super Bowl of eggs. Well, yesterday, Easter, today at the White House. But we'll continue to focus on it, get our arms around it, and make sure that the president's promise of decreasing costs for American families continues to trend in the right direction.
Look at that. That is an excellent chart. Brooke Rollins bringing a lot of fun and festivities to very important matters of agricultural and national importance. Listen, there's so much more that we have to cover. There's so much more that we get to every single day. And that's why we have not one, but 2 daily podcasts. This one and Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, which airs live on all of our streaming services every single day at 1 p.m. Or you can go to iTunes, you can go to Spotify, you can go to whatever podcast player you enjoy the most, and you can download episodes and listen at your leisure. Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. Download, listen, and enjoy.